What's going on, fellow Mustang lovers? In today's video, I'm going to be telling you the truth, the full story on how I ended up with the 1970 Mustang Mach 1. Just a quick disclaimer, there's not going to be any wrenching, any working on cars in this video, but I appreciate everyone who sticks around and actually listens to what I have to say. So, how did I end up with this 1970 Mustang Mach 1? Let's go for a little short walk and talk. So I want to address several different things. I've had a lot of people in my videos say that everything is staged. The Mustang is not really mine. My dad didn't really pass away. Why was the car sitting uncovered for almost 40 years? That doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to explain all of those things. So, number one, let's go ahead and tackle talking about my dad for a moment. So, yes, my dad did pass away unexpectedly in 2020, June of 2020, from a massive heart attack at the age of 53. Now, I understand this is some really personal stuff, but like I've said in the past, I feel like we're friends, we're family. So I'm fine with being transparent about everything, so you know the full story. So anyways, my dad struggled with a lot of mental issues, and one of them was hoarding. Maybe you pieced it together. If you look around on the property, this is after 6 to 8 months of cleanup. If you go back and look at one of my older videos, there were cars everywhere. I'm talking, I would guesstimate my dad had 35 plus vehicles, maybe pushing 40 vehicles on this property. I mean, if you look around, there's still a Lincoln Navigator there. There's an old Ford truck here. There's a dump truck behind those trees, a camper there, some older 50s models trucks. If you peek through the trees, there's still 3 Broncos back there. That's after we sold 4 of them already. Another dump truck over there, a dually back there, some storage trailers over there. Another dually back over there, 2 more campers, and this is after we've already sold a bunch of stuff. So what my dad did is he hoarded vehicles along with many other things. And I'm not faulting my dad in any way. I don't want to see people bad-mouthing him or saying anything bad about the situation at all. I loved my dad, he loved us, so it is what it is. But everybody struggles with mental issues at some point in their life. If you haven't yet, unfortunately, just a heads up, you probably will struggle with some type of mental something later on in your life. So what my dad did is he loved Ford vehicles, and every chance he had to get a good deal, he would buy it. What he would do is drive it for a couple months, year or two, until something broke on it. Now, he knew how to fix it, but once something broke on it, he would park it and use it for storage. He would literally just cram it full of stuff and leave it parked there. So what happened with the Mustang is he bought it back in the day to race some of his buddies and his friends, because everybody back then was buying all these big, fast, loud cars, and they would go cruise around where I live, which is called Midland Shopping Center. Everybody in that era would cruise around, and they would race around the courthouse and do all this crazy stuff. And my dad's buddies got a bunch of fast cars. My dad wanted something quick to race them, so he bought the Mustang. He drove it for a while, and then something broke on it. I don't know what it was, and he parked it right here. Now, it looks a little different here. In my previous video, there was a bread truck here. There were trees here. I can put up a clip right here from one of my previous videos, just so if you're new here, you know what's going on. So it sat parked right there literally for about 35 to 38 years. So yes, I'm telling the truth on that. So that's kind of the story behind my dad. That's why the property looks like how it does, and that's how he ended up with all these different vehicles. Now, number 2, a lot of people said there's no way if that car meant something to you or your dad, you would have covered it. You wouldn't have left it sitting there like that. This also brings in some of my dad's mental struggles. He was very OCD, very particular. He did not want anyone touching his things. That includes me, my mom, my brother, anybody. And again, it's just, he was very particular about it. If I would have come out here and put a cover on that car, he would have flipped out just because he didn't want people touching his things. And trust me, he would know if you did. So that's kind of why I never really was able to touch it. It was understood that if anything ever happened to him in the future, the car would be passed down to me because I loved the car and always wanted it. But until then, I was not allowed to do anything to the car. Let's address the second thing, which is I staged the whole thing here with the leaves. I piled them on it, all this stuff. If you'll notice, it's kind of hard to explain it now, but again, if you go back to the first video, the Mustang sat right here. Well, what do you know? There was a giant tree right in front of the Mustang. There was also another tree over here. Just so happens it lines up perfect for all the leaves to fall right on the car. And it had been raining the previous week or two, so it had kind of soaked everything, and they had just really piled on because it was right at that time in the fall when all the leaves started falling. And people say, well, listen up, man, there weren't leaves on those other cars that were close by. We had people coming to the property to look at potentially purchasing those other vehicles. So we had already went through and cleaned off the leaves, bagged them up, burned them and whatnot. And I saved the Mustang for last, so that way I could film episode 1 in the Mustang series. Sometimes I just think on YouTube, before people comment, they don't think, they don't use their brain, or I'm just gonna be blunt, maybe they're just dumb. I don't know. I'm just letting you guys know this stuff so you know that not everything you see on YouTube is clickbait or staged or some kind of sham, and you don't always know the full truth behind the video. When you watch someone's YouTube video, you just see snippets, pieces of what they put together in the video, but just remember that you don't always know the whole story and everything that goes on and everything that went into it. And I don't feel the need to address this. You can either believe me or not believe me. Honestly, I don't care. But I just wanted, for those of you who do care, to know the full story on how I ended up with the car and the truth behind it. Because at the end of the day, I'm making these videos for me. I love it that we're becoming friends and family. I read every single comment you guys put, the nice ones and the mean ones both. But at the end of the day, I started this channel so I personally could go back and maybe show my kids or grandkids or something in the future, hey, look how far this car that you're riding in right now, look where it started. Here's the story. This is a video documentary right here on this channel, following the progress. Sometimes it's going to move quickly, sometimes it's going to move slow. I have things that go on in my life. I have to work in between working on the car and stuff. So yeah, so really I started out just making the videos for me. So that's honestly about all there is to the story. My dad bought the Mustang to race his buddies. He drove it for a while. It was a loud car, a cool looking car. Something went wrong with it. He parked it, used it for storage. Unfortunately passed away last year, way too early. And the car was passed down to me. As you can see on the property, we've still been working on cleaning everything up. This is after 6 to 8 months of cleanup. You can see all the debris and stuff back there. I can show you just all of the tires. Like I said, my dad really liked to hoard stuff, and he had a lot of things. Look at these tires, just old tires that we need to find a way to get rid of. You guys haven't really seen all around the shop like this, so this is kind of just an inside look. And I also have a lot of people who say, you're faking that you're not a car guy. Yeah, right, you're doing it for the views. You're trying to bring people in to get them to watch and comment. I was not a car guy growing up. My dad was, obviously. He owned a construction company. He had this big giant shop so he could work on cars and his equipment and all that stuff. But while my dad was out here working on cars, I was inside working on computers, taking apart various electronics, game systems, all sorts of stuff. I love all things electronics and computers, and that's really still a big part of who I am today. I actually owned a company working on computers, custom built computers, building them for customers. Also an audio-visual company where I installed whole home audio systems and security and surveillance systems into homes. That was more what I enjoyed doing. So when I was younger, when my dad would say, hey, help me with my truck, work on this or that, or fix mom's car with this or that, I really wasn't that interested. When he was trying to teach me stuff, I would just zone out, really didn't care about it. It just wasn't my thing, right? It wasn't something that I enjoyed. I wanted to be working on computers. And I'm still happy that I ended up doing that, because I'm able nowadays to, for instance, build my computer, built my wife's computer, built computers for friends and family, and I've done very well with it, honestly, and I enjoy it a lot. But it does kind of suck that, you know, now my dad's not here to ask him any car questions, you know. If I have help, if I break down out in town, I can't call up my dad and be like, hey dad, can you come help me figure this out, or, you know, what could it be, and then he can walk me through something on the phone. So just enjoy those moments, cherish those moments. If you do enjoy working on cars, if your dad wants to show you something about his car or a cool classic car or something like that, because it really sucks. You know, I can't have those moments. Now that I'm getting a little more into cars, now that I'm getting older, now my dad's not here to enjoy it with me and for us to work on cars together and stuff. But I'm enjoying the memories that I'm making with my younger brother that's made several appearances in the videos. One final thing I would like to do is take you by my dad's grave, because I want to show you guys something. This is very personal, but I think that I want to show you guys how big of a Ford guy my dad really was. So this might be kind of tough to do, but let's take a trip and I want to show you guys something. So I'm not coming here to try to prove my dad passing away or anything like that, because I know it probably looks weird because I'm standing here in a graveyard. But this is where my dad is buried. I don't want to get up super close to all of this. What I honestly just wanted to show you guys was two things. Number one, I told you guys that my dad loved construction equipment, right? That's what he did for a living. But number two, let me just show you guys what we did on my dad's tombstone. Just to prove to you guys, again, not about his passing, but to show you how big of a Ford guy he really was. He loved Ford. Thank you guys for checking out this video. Like I said, those that believe me, believe me. Those that don't. I don't really care otherwise. I really just wanted to make the video explaining it more in detail, so you guys know exactly the situation. I'll see you guys in the next one, and hopefully we'll be doing some more wrenching on the Mustang. Peace out, guys.